What if I told you that the worst moment of your life could become your greatest transformation? That standing at rock bottom with $0, pregnant, and walking away from everything you knew could be the exact moment you discover your true power. Today's conversation is about identity, mindfulness, and the courage to die to your old self. We're diving deep with someone who turned her breaking point into a breakthrough, who legally changed her name to reflect her rebirth, and who now helps others navigate their own dark paths with wisdom and grace. Now available. Awakening I Am, Internal Awareness in an AI Age audiobook, and our Victory Builders platform, which integrated system for founders who execute, is open. Links in the description. In order for us to really perform, we have to know, one, our audience, and two, what do we bring into the table? As a mindfulness coach, I don't allow when we're doing movements, I don't allow people to say, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. No, no. Because we have the capacity to do anything. When we think we can't, then we won't. I don't like to use words like want, because want is low vibrational. I want to be a millionaire. Right? We're going to constantly chase it to the point that we'll wind up either under Diddy's desk or doing anything that will help us to reach that want. We sell our souls.
Right.
Not
Not
everyone,
everyone,
but
right? And I
yeah,
think
but in some
yeah,
cases.
yeah,
So, um, but how do we change or transform identity?
sure.
One, we have to die to the old person and stop reliving those old narratives and those stories. Two, we have to see ourselves before we actually become who we are progressing to. This is NaRon Tillman. This is another episode of Walk in Victory, where we sit you at the feet of the masters and we have conversations to help you evolve your life. We have intellectual conversations with people who have been there, done it, and is continuing to bridge narratives, gaps, lifestyles to help others. We only talk to people that is interested in helping other people, because people help people. Uh, our master today is Miss Amber. How are you doing?
Wow, and I'm so sorry I interrupted your intro. So
No, that's
I'm
fine.
like, some real stuff. I'm like, can I piggyback? So I apologize. Thank you for having me on your platform.
So let's start. Let's piggyback. What are some of the things that just really jumped out at you, and you can take as much time as you want to help people, because from that they'll understand what you do.
So you said two of my favorite things is you don't allow your clients to use the word can't. And then the other thing that I want to touch on is the word want. And so can't and want are, you also said one of my other favorite words, like low frequency vibration. These are identifiers of lack and limited ability. And they are excuses, right? So a long time ago when I was in school, I learned this thing, this mantra that I even live by and teach my children is excuses are useless tools of incompetence, built upon arguments of
Mm,
nothingness.
you must have went to a
I
HBCU.
did. I did. I did. I did. You know, equal pride amplified. And so from that, you know, Ford said back in the day, what you whether you think you can or you can't, you're always going to be right. And I think when we say we can't, it takes the blame and the responsibility off of us, and it says, okay, I can't do that. So then it takes away the responsibility that we have to even try or do or put forth effort. When we say want, we want something, we create this bridge of disconnect to say that's something that's over there that's unavailable to me and I want it, which means that I have to do something out of my way, out of my scope to get that. But then when you say, I am, right, a multimillionaire, or I am a wealthy person, those are my two favorite words, because anything that comes behind that is still going to be what it is going to be. I am mad. Okay, you're going to be mad. I am sad. You're still going to be sad. You, even if you say, I am sad in this now moment and I am moving closer to a better feeling, is better than just leaving it at I am sad, I am mad, I am hurt, I am angry, because you're saying this is the state that I desire to be in. When you say I want, you're also saying I am not in the state which I want to be in. So I didn't mean to.
No,
Sorry.
that's listen, that's amazing because the subconscious mind doesn't know how to differentiate between false narratives or true
Right.
narratives, right? So we load it with where we grew up
Yeah.
at, and we rehearse these stories. Oh, I grew up in the
Yeah.
projects, so it's gonna. You can live in middle of the suburbs, and you're still gonna. I grew up in the
Right.
projects, right? So then the project is gonna
Right.
find you. Um, one M's, all of those things draw. I'm gonna have a bad day. Like then we draw
Right. So
intentionally
yes. And so I had to
a
tell
bad day.
somebody, I'm like, people who read horoscopes and tarot and things like that, I own a metaphysical store. So I am all for these tools. The other aspect is when you put all of your focus, all of your attention, and all of your trust in these tools and not within yourself. So you may wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and the tarot or the astrology says you're going to have a bad day and you're going to have all of these experiences. So now you're going out into your world having this bad day and having all of these experiences, and they impact you in the most fudged up way. So I encourage my clients and my courses, I'm like, yo, don't read it in the morning. Expect to have a great day every day. Expect that everything works out in your favor, for your favor every day. Now you go home in the evening and you read your horoscope or you pull your tarot, and everything that it says is there. But how you handled it, how you navigated through it, your understanding of what you went through in that day is a lot more palatable and digestible than if you consume these external things telling you about your day. So it's like you set the standard and let the horoscope and the tarot and all these other metaphysical tools and resources align to you in your favor. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense. First of all, let's bridge here. What school did you go to?
North Carolina Central University.
Oh,
Yes. Eagle Pride. Amplified. The elect.
my daughter is
Yes.
my daughter's in Howard
You know what? My
University.
daughter wants to go to Howard too, and I absolutely support her going to the Mecca. I absolutely support her dreams.
So she's doing music therapy. So we're a household of music, um, and all of these things that we're talking about. So give me a portion of your journey. We don't need, everybody don't need to know your entire backstory. But how did you land where you're doing metaphysics and you're talking about energy, and now you're going on stages helping corporations with your vibe, and you still use yo.
Yo, you know what?
Like, yo, you know what I'm saying?
I grew up in Jersey. I grew up non
Oh, see, there you go, yo, Sean.
I grew up in Jersey. I grew up non-denominational Christian, and
Okay.
explored my spiritual gifts since I was a kid at 8. But oftentimes when you don't know who you are and you're like you come back to you're still figuring this out. I went on the traditional journey of married, kids, all these other things. But then I had a dream that was like, hey, I'm growing vertically, and my ex-spouse is growing horizontally. For those who don't know, the vertical path is the spiritual path, the horizontal is the human path, the materialistic, the things that we can just acquire. Through that moment, I told people I was looking for freedom and I didn't know that it was going to lead me on a divorce. And that is what catapulted my journey to where I am now. In that, I began studying all the things, being agnostic, being atheist, being I don't believe in what I'm in, like what's happening to me. So you're going to go through that, like, what's happening? Your world is going to fall apart. I tell anyone, when your world falls apart, allow it to, because that means it's getting ready to come back together exponentially. There's a thing you talked about, a bridge earlier. Everything is a connector. When you're following each decision, it's going to take you there. When I finished my college degree, I was in public accounting as an auditor, and then I shifted to private and I started working in tech. When I was in tech, I was always reading, y'all. Reading, consuming things, edifying my soul, edifying my spirit. And on my LinkedIn, I used to have the corporate mermaid because I was in corporate with big blue, the same blue that's back there. That was the color of my hair in corporate. And I would tell people all the time, they would come in and be like, "Oh, RichBook, tell me this, tell me that." My brother, I would tell people all the time, don't ask me what to do, how to do it, or when to do it, because RichBook does what she want, when she want, whenever she want, how she want. And what works for me may not work for you, because I walk with this authority in my life. Long gone are the days where I have to switch up who I am when I can be myself in all things. It just understands that, okay, I need to speak in a language by which people can understand me. So you may get a yo because you can understand that, you can receive me. But I may say yo to somebody else and it may recalibrate their brain and they don't understand. So I have to give them, hey, how are you doing? Are you well today? Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what we're here to accomplish. And so people are like, hey, I don't like code switching, but that's no different than between speaking another language, speaking Spanish, and then pivoting to English. So I took myself on this journey. Life is just a journey, and you have to be willing to go in it. You have to be willing to go in the dark, knowing that you're the light. And I know that sounds crazy, but you got to be willing to go in the dark, moving around,
No,
but knowing that you're the light that's guiding yourself. I'm gonna stop there, but that's my fool.
no, that's so. There's a number of things. One, when you went through that down period where the relationship, the everything is seems to be falling apart, and you find really that these are not breaking mechanisms, these are building mechanisms. But let's unpack that, because this is what you do now for other
Yes.
people, help them to find their way through whatever dark
Yeah.
paths they may feel that they're in. uh, uh, Talk about what were the two lessons that you learned, and how you now apply them when you're walking into a room and you're teaching or you're doing your training.
Okay, so the two lessons that I learned is one of my favorite mantras. Love is knowing that I am everything, and wisdom is knowing I am nothing. And in between the two, my
Mm,
life moves. And so my life falling apart looked like I was 6 weeks pregnant with my third daughter when I left my abusive marriage. And I had $0. My ex-husband had taken everything from me, my truck, my money, this. If I didn't have my credit card from my corporation, I wouldn't have been able to feed my other two children. I had to ship my middle daughter off to a family member in Florida because I couldn't afford daycare. That was so devastating for me. I had to keep my oldest daughter. So my kids, even to this day, they don't understand what their mother has went through and experienced. They just think life is wonderful, it's sunshine, it's this, it's but the endurance of it. And so based on my mantra, it looked like I am my best bet. You have to be worth your best bet. You have to be worth your best investment. Yes, I experienced homelessness. I experienced $0. I remember now. I'm friends with my attorney, but back then when I met her and she was like, "Okay, your retainer is going to be X amount." I'm like, "Can I make payments? How can I do this? I don't have this. I don't have that." And luckily for her, she gave me grace with pain. And then recently, maybe I'm gonna say a year ago, I needed her to do something for me, and she told me what the retainer was, and I paid it within an hour. But I remember where I was, that I didn't have it, to where I am now. And you have to go through these dark moments, understanding that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. But if you're only focused on the morning, you won't learn the lesson of the night, which means when the night comes again, you're going to experience weariness. You're going to be like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, why does this keep happening? So now with my clients now, the question is, what lesson do you need to learn? What is it for me to learn right here? What is this about myself? So I don't talk about my ex-husband. I'm not a victim blamer or nothing. Like, where was I in that moment that led me to that type of relationship, that kept me in that type of relationship, and what freed me? This thing that I need somebody to love me. I need somebody to care for me. I need someone to see me, when the truth is I needed to love me. I needed to see me. I needed to care for me. So even in this now moment, as a speaker, as a business owner, I'm in Pilates and yoga teacher training, I ride motorcycles, I do all these things. And to my children, I'm gonna make y'all laugh. We had a spelling bee in the house the other day. And so I'm like spelling all these words, and my kids are like, you're pretty smart. So, but I'm like, in the world, I'm rich book, but to them, I'm mediocre. To them, I'm just mom. I'm nothing cool. But that's how it's supposed to be. I get to just be mom. Okay. I know you're going,
It's funny because no, it's funny because I saw your name, Amber RichBook, and I was like, "Is that the name of her book? Like, is that
that's my
the
name.
so your last name is really
It's really rich book. It's really rich book. My girls are rich books.
so, so when you I'm going back to Jersey now. You and I don't know, we went to public
I
school,
did.
private school, and you running through the halls, Miss Rich Book.
Okay, so let me tell you, this is my new life identity. So this is where identity comes in. When I was married, my whole maiden name is Amber Walters. I was the kid that confused
That fits.
with being a white girl in school, and then when the substitute would call my name, and I'm like, it's me. I had to show this lady my badge to be like, I'm not joking. Like, I'm Amber. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to joke on you. Like, bro, my parents really named me this. What are you talking about? So when I was married, my ex-husband had two last names, and I did a Tina Turner, y'all. I was like, I don't want nothing but my name. And I took the first four letters of both last names and I created my own last name, which was Rich Book. I used to be Richardson Booker, and I took the first four letters of each. And I am now Rich Book, and that's my identity.
That's this is why I'm good at interviewing because I knew something.
There's always something behind it, but that's what life happens for you, never to you, always for your benefit, never to your detriment. It was the worst thing in my life, right? It was the worst, one of the worst experiences in my life. But had I not gone through that experience, I wouldn't have found the richness in my life. I wouldn't have been able to write my own book. So my life story unfolded and gifted me my name. It said, this is your new name. And that's like, if we go into the biblical, and I always reference the Bible because that was my foundation, so I look at it metaphysically. Abraham had his name changed. Everybody who's gone through a transformation, Saul went to Paul. Everybody who went through a transformation creates a new name, creates a new identity, who they once were to who they are now. Amber Richardson Booker was more timid. She was more, okay, all right. Amber RichBook, I'm audacious. I'm self-preserving. I am going to choose myself always and always the first time. I'm going to trust myself the first time. So yeah, that's my name history. But that's my legal name, y'all.
So the second chapter in my book, we talk about identity, and I use those same references: Sarai to Sarah, Abram to Abraham. Um, so now you're here. You're an entrepreneur. You gave everybody the history of not having any money, using the corporate card to support your children and everything. What drove you to say, one, I have a story that I can share, but not just one, I have a story to share. Two, I can turn that story into capital.
It happened by accident. And it happened by accident because I could just be doing nothing and somebody will come into my presence and I am led to speak to them. Or I may have been at work and I'm doing something and they're like, "Oh, Amber, do you mind facilitating this meeting? Do you mind sharing?" And it literally all happened by accident. "Oh, I just want to share. I just want to support. I just want to do this." It wasn't me looking for money. It was me being impactful. Let me share my story. And I had an experience not too long ago where a woman was like, "Yo, back in COVID, I was at the skating rink and she's like, "You just spoke to me." And she's like, "I'll never forget what you said to me." She's like, "I was going through one of the worst times in my life." And in my mind, I don't remember talking to her. I don't remember the conversation. Don't know what I said, but it just happens like that. And so you look for your story and I say focus on your impact. Focus on the lives that you're going to touch, because sometimes we think the wealth comes from touching 1,000 people when the wealth can come from talking to that one person. And so that may look like following what happened to me was following those intuitive nudges. It would be like, go to this grocery store today instead of that grocery store. Go to this dinner instead of going to that dinner. Go this way around instead of going there. Talk to this person. The other thing that I would tell people too is I made a commitment to not talk to everybody, talk to who I'm led to talk to, but value key decision makers, key persons of influencers, and gatekeepers. So you treat everybody the same way with equity, but you invest in those types of relationships and you offer value to those. Your gatekeepers are your executive assistants, your lobby ambassadors, your janitors, or I don't want to say janitors, but I don't know, like your professional cleaners, like that, people who are around. I want to talk to y'all. I want to talk to the people. I'll be like, yo, how's your day going? You looking good today? How you feeling? I want to talk to the lobby ambassadors. I want to talk to the executive assistant, because they can tell me what I need to know to get to who I need to get to. And they can put in the word for me for that. But it looks like me pouring life into them and just sharing my story. So it looked like every time, like if I were to meet you on the street and then we're just talking, I've been like, yeah, whatever I feel led to share, I feel led to share. And if it blesses you, cool. If it doesn't, cool. So then that turned into, "Oh, can you come speak here? Oh, can you come speak here? Oh, can you come speak at this organization?" And still to this day, I don't even know how I got here. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how I got here. I'm like, okay, God, where you want me to share my story at? Okay, cool. This is where I'm going to be. So I know that was like long-winded, but I would tell any
No,
in
no,
and on
no.
purpose looks like living your life and following your intuitive nudges. And then the money will open itself up to you. It will say, like, even in this now moment, I had an article featured in Forbes about women in systemic exhaustion. And from that, my spirit was like, you need to share this as a session with local women's groups, which now has turned into income. But it wasn't about the income, it was about the impact. It was about the relatability and the connectivity to these, to women. So that was long-winded, but I would tell anybody impact and purpose.
Uh, It's not long when our show we highlight our guests. So it's a conversation where I share nuggets about myself all the time, right? But it's a conversation where we want to make sure that the guests get their story out, because we don't ask for cash apps or Venmos or any of those things like that. But we do ask for our audience to follow our guests, to get in their lives, so that like mindedness attract like mindedness. Your algorithm. If I went on through your phone and I saw the things that was popping up on your social, that's going to tell me everything I need to know about you, because it's only going to show you things that you like. On my YouTube, what pops up is stuff about AI, old historical books about
Yeah.
metaphysics
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah. Sports, because that's what I'm into. So you're sharing a part of yourself, and when you share, you actually believe and you teach, but you also leave space to continue to expand and grow. So no, this is a rich conversation. So now you're an entrepreneur. You had to really figure out, because you can do this for free. You can do it without any type of responsibility. How do you manage the financial piece or the business piece? Um, and we know it's going to be a twofold question. And we know that everything around us is mathematical, right? Do you think that you going to school to be an accountant actually prepared you, although you're not doing anything in accounting right
No,
now?
I don't. I don't think going to school for accountant period me for where I am now, 'cause it no, it prepared me to go into corporate. It prepared me to learn how to speak to people in different environments. It prepared me how to speak to people who don't look like me. It taught me the language of business, and everything is mathematical, and that math is not always numerical. That math is sometimes input and output plus other variables looking like your character, your mindset, how you show up and relate to people. And sometimes as I built my business, because this was a part of me, I built a lot of this while I was in corporate. I learned money. And then the other aspect is, as a licensed cosmetologist, spirit is going to tell you how to get the money, and the how never matters, because if your focus is just on the money, you're going to forget the purpose. And I know that sounds fudged up, but it looks like, yo, you got to work to eat. There's no way around it. You have to do something to exchange for income. What helped me was healing my financial blocks and healing my relationship with money while I was on the journey to this point, which looked like I don't I'm not one of those people that's like, don't go to Starbucks, save that $10 or that $8 a day, don't get your nails done. Don't As matter of fact, I'm the person that's like, how do you feel when you get Starbucks? How does it make you feel? Make you feel like a rich chick and make you feel like a boss? Sir, go get how many men have I know some people that go get your coffee wherever you get your coffee from. Sir, how does it make you feel when you drink a chai latte? Okay, well, go get your chai latte in the morning. How does it feel to make you wear this certain jacket? And so some of those metaphysical books that you would think of, like Florence Scovel Shinn, she talked about one of her clients, and he wanted this fur jacket, and he spent his last dollar to go get his fur jacket. No money in the bank, but spent the last money to go get this fur jacket. And as a result of him walking down the street with this fur jacket, it opened up an opportunity for a sales job for income to come into. So you may think about, okay, the person may say, well, I don't want to work at a fast food restaurant just to get money. It may tell you to go work at a boys and girls club, and now you just making just enough to pay your bills and get things done. But now going there, there's a student or a scholar there whose parent is successful in something, and they could benefit from your services, and that's how shit just opens up. And so I would tell people that how doesn't matter. Like, so in this now moment, I could be doing hair. Pilates is a stream of income. Yoga is a stream of income. My one-on-one coaching is a stream of income. Babysitting could be, I don't babysit, but I'm just saying people can, there's all these different things that when you tap into your creative mind and you just go for this walk and you just show up and you just be, for example, I got invited to a dinner and I want to go to a dinner. But then I ended up going and I'm talking, and there was an executive in the room that was like, I need you to come talk to my team. Okay. So I live a more I'm not risk averse. So I live a more risk averse or a riskier life than most people, because I really
Well,
live in the arms of spirit.
to,
Like,
to go from accountant to cosmetology to Pilates to
no, it
yoga,
was
it just,
cosmetology
I'm
to
like,
accounting, because went to high school.
yeah,
I was in high
okay.
school. I told my parents, my mama, I said I didn't want to go to college and be flipping burgers. So you should let me do cosmetology in high school so I could do hair while I'm in college. So I was in college doing hair. And
Well, usually I'm 50 years old, and usually people don't do hair to go to college. They do. So you was always a free forward thinker. You know
I
what
was,
I
so y'all getting in trouble for doing hair in the dorm room, but I got a license. To do this.
mean?
I get certified to do this while making money. And the funny thing is that I was going to get my accounting degree, and then open a salon. But while I was there, I had professors and instructors that would be like, you would be great in corporate. And there's only less than 1% of Black CPAs, and less than that are women. And so I was influenced by this is what I should do. And I put owning a salon on the back burner. But it took me on this journey, meaning I always thought to be an entrepreneur, but I had to, there were skills now reflecting back hindsight. Oh, these are all the things that I picked up along the way on my journey, like the
Yeah,
book in The
that's what I was
Alchemist,
about to
right?
say. You needed to have that corporate experience. You needed to find your
Yep.
voice, and 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 you know, now as an entrepreneur, we get so caught up in the day to day, making the ends meet, paying our employees, paying the rent, and we lose our
Yep.
voice because we become a slave, especially if we don't have the bandwidth and
Yep.
capacity. And I thank God for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And it's very true. And I think the thing that grounds me back is, this might sound, this is not business. This is like, fuck all that. My peace of mind matters. What's most important right now? What's going to allow me to breathe? Okay. If this is not a lowest hanging fruit, and I know this is something that I'm passionate about, what do I need to do to make this happen? What do I need to do to make this shake? And so being in corporate allowed me to put myself in a position to have money over here and have money over there and have money over there, so that I could sit here at 2 something on a Monday and have your podcast. And so sometimes we think long, like we think, oh, I'm gonna be a multimillionaire and this is what I want as a multimillionaire. And it was just a few weeks ago that I was having like the money thing, like, all right, Spirit, I ain't got this consistent income, man. What you talking about? What you talking about? What you got me doing? You got me out here doing Pilates and yoga, like all this shit, right? I be talking shit to Spirit, y'all, anyway. So, and so Spirit is like, Amber, you stressed about something you're already living. You're stressed about something you're
Mm.
already living. You talked about when you was in corporate, you look forward to the day where you could just wake up and have slow mornings, drink your coffee in your robe, not have to worry about anything, take your kids to school, pick them up from school, have breakfast with your mom on a weekday. You talked about all the going to the gym when you want, how you want, not having to go at 5 a.m. because you have to go at 5 a.m. Doing, and you're literally living that right now. And so sometimes we start, and this is where being in the now, being present, being here matters most, because it takes the pressure and off, and the anxiety off of all the way there, and to tell you to keep in this frequency because you're already in this frequency. So that looks like, when I tell people me going to the gym is not for a specific body goal, but it's for snack goals, because I just want to be at home eating snacks in my robe. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm sitting at home eating snacks in my robe. And then I get to go to the gym at 3 o'clock after the podcast, because I already, so I get to eat this Haagen Dazs because I already spent 3 hours in the gym lifting weights and doing cardio and then doing Pilates, then doing yoga. So I have the life that I already said I was going to live. And so oftentimes when we don't stay in that present frequency and that present focus, we get away from it. So then we go end up doing something else that takes us away from what we are already doing, just to work to get back to what we were already doing. And the like parable that I shared, I don't know who I shared this with, or if I was recording, I don't know, but it was a story where there was a millionaire who went on vacation, and there was a man in a rowboat, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm fishing. And he was like, if you sell your fish, you can get, you can buy another boat. And he said, well, why would I buy another boat? He said, because if you buy another boat, then you could get double the fish, and then if you sell that fish, you can buy a bigger fish. And he said, well, why would I do that? He said, because if you buy that, then you could get a fishery, then you can export around the globe. And he said, well, why would I do that? He was like, because then after that, you could sell your fishery business and have a whole bunch of money, and then live on an island and sit in a rowboat and fish all day. And he was like, I'm already sitting in a rowboat fishing all day, and I'm happy. And so it just goes to show that sometimes we don't see where we already are. And so we
Mm.
we we send
Absolutely.
ourselves on an unnecessary journey sometimes to get where we already are. And that's no different than the alchemist. He was sleeping right where the treasure was. but he needed to go
So
to
did.
the pyramids to meet these people, to meet the alchemists, to have the experiences, to get the exposure, to get the understanding. And now you just get to be at home in your robe eating your snacks. And the how does
And then go to the gym.
and go to them after
And
you finish the podcast episode.
yes. There you have it, everybody. Miss Amber RichBook. Listen, we don't ask you for, again, as I said, Cash App, Venmos, or any of those things, and I'm not knocking people that do. But what we do ask is that you support our guests. All of Amber's information is in the description. Follow her on social. She shares things that, as you can see, deep, and for you to strive towards. And then we also ask that you hit like, share, and subscribe. Your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, your comments on platforms that allow you to leave a comment, like Apple or Spotify, helps us to continue to grow and expand. We have been growing because of you, and we thank you for that. But I don't want to just talk to you. I want to talk to more people. So share it with your friends and let them know that we are here. Amber is now a part of the Walk in Victory family. We don't ask you to walk looking backwards. We don't ask you to make victim stories. Together we walk in victory. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. That was fun.